For all things outdoors, listen to the father of two, the Jesus-loving, TV show hosting, hairy, true-blood American redneck, Ben Cole.
And listen to the outdoor filming, chef cooking, chocolate milk drinking, John Weissmuller. We are
Rooted Podcast. Well, Ben, the woods is a really special place to us, and it all started somewhere. Someone had to take us. So I would really love to hear your story of the first time that someone took you hunting and who it was and how it went.
Oh man, that's one of the most special stories of my life because that was my dad. My dad had not really been hunting much of his life. He hadn't done a whole lot of hunting. But man, he ordered books. And it all started because I was into animals, like I would get all the animal books, I would read them. And then the hunting channel came out. And dude, I watched Will Primos and all those guys. And I remember telling my mom, one day I'm going to be like them. I'm going to be on TV. And little did we know that was what we were going to do with life. But man, I'll tell you, my dad ordered all these books because he didn't know about deer hunting or anything like that. So he ordered all this stuff, got in a hunting club, and took the time to take me to the shooting range, to teach me about gun safety, to teach me about one shot, one kill, and know your target, know what's behind your target. Man, he even taught me how to walk in the woods and walk quietly, because I was walking through there like a herd of elephants. And he said, man, look, you got to go heel to toe, real soft, and which I guess that helped. The fact that helped was he was a lieutenant in the military, in the Army specifically. And, he learned a whole lot there as far as being stealthy. And I appreciate his service as well. But what he did for me molded the rest of my life. It kept me out of a lot of trouble too. It kept me out of whatever I could have gotten into, it kept me in the woods. All I thought about was buying decoys and buying guns and buying hunting licenses or whatever, I wasn't consumed with buying anything else. I wasn't consumed with being in town. I was consumed with being in the woods, in God's creation, and learning how to make it a savory meal. Now, was my first wild game cook any good? No, it was awful. I did a terrible job. But I'm telling you right now, it is now some of the most favorite meat in my arsenal, mainly when my wife cooks deer chili. Delicious.
Dangerous,
buddy. It is good. But, if my dad wouldn't have done that, I wonder where I would be today. I wonder what path. I feel like I would have still been here, but I just don't know what that would have taken to get here. You know what I mean? I just wonder what steps would have had to gone into actually making this a reality versus what dad instilled in me as a little kid, and what it transformed into over the years is just unbelievable. I think it was God's ordained deal for dad to do that for me at a young age and then watch it grow and blossom over the years.
Yeah, isn't it wild that, one person's decision to care and to dive into, his kid's passion that wasn't his own, and that he took the time and the effort to learn and then to teach you. Mm-hmm. And that effort now has led to this, life that you can put forth and install into your children and other kids.
Yeah. What's crazy, man, is me and Teddy have already been shed hunting together. We go out when he was little bitty. I have a picture of him in a little dad papoose, and it has deer antlers patch on the front. We were out just walking the ridges looking for antlers. That's just one of the things that we did at a very early age. And, I look back on my dad and I think, man, this is pretty awesome that he instilled this into me. And now I can pass that on to my child. And furthermore, I can pass on my very first deer rifle to my boy. But it will not come out of daddy's safe for good until he is old enough to understand how to operate a firearm correctly. And I mean, there's just a bunch of things that go into that. You got to teach them right. You got to spend the time with them at the range. And, that's one thing that my dad did is he took us to the range. He got a membership at the range too. I didn't even mention that. He got a membership to the range. Excuse me. Got a membership to the range. And man, he took me and my brother and my sister all the time to that range. And, that's some dedication right there to be like, my son really likes this. He really wants to do it. So we're going to go all out. We're going to do this. And to this day, John, I couldn't tell you how many deer that rifle has taken. I still use it now. I shot a deer with it last year, actually. Yep, sure did.
Wow. Did you use that rifle to kill your first deer?
Yes, sir. Sure did.
Nice.
Sure did.
And that was in Alabama, I assume?
Sweet home Alabama, buddy. Yes, sir. Yeah, the good old sweet home.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man, it was.
I'm sure that you remember that hunt pretty well, right?
Oh, dude, like it was yesterday.
Tell us about it.
So we were sitting in. Well, let me backtrack. So one of the guys that Dad worked with at the time, and had this hunting club or something like that down in South Alabama, and they invited us out for, gun season or whatever. And for some reason, this is not focusing. Sorry, it's driving me insane. But they had invited us down for gun season, and me and him were, because Dad was bow hunting and I was gun hunting, so his buddy took me with him to a shooting house right in this super cool food plot. It was kind of short undergrowth and some very thick bedding area, and then it moved into big hardwoods and then big pines. And we were the shooting house is built into the fork of a big oak tree. I mean, man, I can still I can close my eyes and see the shot. I can see everything still exactly how it was. I was 6 years old, and this buck walks out. In fact, he's mounted just right up here, corner of the screen a little ways. Little basket rack 8 walks out, and he said, "Do you want him?" I said, "Yes." Dude, I clicked the safety off and went clack. I was like, "Oh no, I ruined it. It's over." That deer didn't even know I was there. Boom! 60 yards, dropped him. Didn't go another step, man. And I think I was the most exhilarated that I've ever been in my entire life. And I was shaking so hard that I had to sit down and collect myself. I was just like, and I still get like that. There was a time that I killed, actually, this buck right here, that one. I killed him in Alabama too. And man, when I shot him, I was so weak-kneed that I had to sit down on the steps going out of the shooting house because I was so pumped about what had just happened. But this deer right here, I had time to.
That's awesome.
Man, I had time to settle down, because this was real early, like 2 hours before dark. I just swacked a buck, but the thing is me and Dad had been hunting together forever and hadn't had any luck. I mean, we had no luck, but we sure tried, by golly. We gave it a good old 1-2 punch, that's for sure. I mean, we tried real hard, but man, I tell you, it was surreal. And when I went up to tell him, I said, "Hey, I killed an 8-point." He was like, "No, you didn't." I said, "No, I really did." He couldn't believe that I killed an 8-point because I was so calm, but I had 2 hours to calm down. And I called my mom, and I was just ballistic, just pumped out of my mind. And man, I will never forget what that day was like and how excited I was. And like I said, still mounted this day, man. That was in 96 when I killed that deer. 1996, man. Yeah. Yeah. So
I
what about
even
you,
born
man?
yet.
You weren't even born yet? Golly.
No.
So, geez, speaks of my age. So tell me your story, man. I want to hear your story. Tell me about when you killed your first deer. Who was with? Who got you into hunting? I'd love to know all that.
Yeah, man. So, funny enough, I didn't get into hunting until I was a bit older. So I was always into sports when I was real young. And then, eventually when I was about 14 or 15, I started really getting into hunting. Um, when I when I was a kid, my dad would take me out a few times a year. He always was working, but whenever he could, he took us out. And really, when I was a kid, we went fishing a lot. And for those of you that know me, know that that's what I love to do is bass fish. And uh, you know, anytime I drive over a body of water, I'm like, yep, there's a fish in there for old Johnny boy.
Dude, I was about
No
to
doubt about it.
intersect right there for just a second. I couldn't tell you how many bodies of water we've driven over, and you're like, "Yep, there's a fish in there for John to catch."
Yep. And but being introduced into the outdoors at such a young age, and dad has a big buck and a big turkey fan on the wall, and I was always intrigued by that. And so when I got a little older and I got more into it, and then I turned 16 and I could drive. Now all bets are off. I could drive when and wherever I want to, or so I thought at that age. But nonetheless, I could go hunting. So, my first deer I ever got, man, this is a bonker story. So, I'm with a buddy from work, and we go up to the family farm. It was my granny's, and we're sitting here. It's rifle season. I got my 30-30 lever action Marlin, 30-30
Oh yeah,
Marlin, and man, we're sitting here on this ridge. On milk crates. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just sitting, hoping to God a deer walks by. Uh, so we're sitting there. We don't see anything. We're like, the heck with it, dude. Let's just get out of here. And this was, I'll never forget this, man. This was January 1st. So this would have been, I was 6. So this was 2015. And so anyway, we get off this ridge and we're coming down into this field, and then you got to walk through the field and then walk down the hill back to the car. Well, we're coming down towards the field, and sure enough, there's a group of deer in the field. And I get my little 30-30, and I've got 3 shells in this gun because I didn't know to bring any more than just 3 in the gun. So I prop up against a tree, and boom, miss. All right, lever action that thing. Boom, missed again.
oh no,
Lever action that thing. And I'm like, all right, I got 1 shot. And this deer the deer at this point are terrified. They don't know
yeah,
what's going on. They're acting like a bunch of cockroaches. They're like, oh no, oh God, I got to get out of here. And they don't know what's happening. And this deer is running towards me. And somehow boom, and I hit this thing right in the chest.
nice.
And I watch it, kind of like go down, and it's going and going and going and going. And long story short here, this is where I learned the value of letting the deer die, giving it time. I just chased this deer around for 4 hours. Long story short, I learned about bumping deer, but regardless, I found the deer, and that is my first deer story. I got it with a 30-30 Marlin, missed twice, hit it running on the 3rd shot.
Dude,
by
awesome.
a miracle. And man, it's so cool because I found the bullet. I still have it to this day. I think it's at my parents' house, but
Really?
the actual bullet, I found it in the back ham when I was processing it.
Oh man,
it was
how
really,
cool is that?
really awesome. Yeah,
Dude,
it's
that is
pretty
awesome.
dope, dude.
That is pretty awesome, man.
So
So I've got another question for you, John. Why is it,
yeah,
or
man.
what is so special about taking kids hunting now that you were that kid at one time? What makes it so special for you to be able to return that favor?
Well, man, like I said earlier, my dad, was always working, and that's not a knock on him. It's just the way life was. He worked hard for his family, so we could have nice things, and I could play sports, and my brother could play sports, and do whatever hobbies we were into, and all that. So for me, it's I want to give that kid an opportunity that I never really had when I was, 5, 6, 7, 8. Because you know, I've taken out youth on their first turkey and deer hunts with the National Wild Turkey Federation, our local chapter here in my hometown, and man, it's so important to me because um, hunting and fishing and the outdoors have done so much in my life, and aside from the actual act of hunting, right? Like, even if you just take that out of it, number one, you introduce somebody into God's creation, which is phenomenal in itself. And then you introduce somebody into the the brotherhood of hunting. And there's so many like-minded people out there that share so many of the same values, and it's really special that you can introduce somebody into that world. And I think that's what makes it special, is just sharing your passion, and getting someone else involved in it. And man, if you can get a kid on a hunt, and it's memorable, and you make it fun, it's only gonna help, because that kid is gonna remember that. I still have kids that I've taken hunting on their first turkey or whatever, you know 5 years later, coming to me and just telling me, like, hey man, I really appreciate what you did for me. And that's really awesome that you can impact someone's life like that. So I just think it's really special to in, introduce somebody to God's creation, and show them what it's all about.
You mentioned God's creation there. I've got a pretty cool story that goes along with that. So this spring, we were taking this young man hunting. His name was Cole, and it was with KOK, which is Courageous Outdoor Kids. And what they do is they take kids with, you know, life altering sicknesses and disabilities and stuff like that. And they take them hunting, man, and
Hmm.
fishing and all that kind of stuff. And, Brock Moore actually, him and Ray Lundy are the reasons I was there. So Ray was my college professor, and Brock and him are really good friends. Anyway, long story short, that's
Mm.
how I actually, it all stemmed from Chandler Rowe, which you know Chandler pretty well. But Chandler Rowe was the
Mm.
actual contact that called me and said, "Hey, man, would you mind if I gave your number out?" I said, "No, that's fine." I think I was more blessed at the end of that deal than those children were. I mean, so Cole has, or had, I don't know if he still does or not. I need to check in. He had a brain tumor, and
Mm.
but dude, he's one of the most cheerful kids I've ever known. I mean, you look at all these kids in a room. There's 40 of them, and they all have something going on. But every one of them are so joyful. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing, man. I mean, it's so
Yeah.
humbling to look at that and say, "Dang, I'm perfectly healthy. My child or my children are perfectly healthy." And here I am complaining that my socks are dirty or whatever, it may be. When these guys are dealing with some stuff, man, and they don't ever complain. They were just chipper the whole time. But me and Brock were talking about it the other day, and there was one point in that hunt, because it was so early, it was way before a turkey should ever have been gobbling or anything. I mean, way before. And I said, guys, I'm going to pray over this hunt. And I went to praying. And when I said, God, give us dominion over the animals today, a turkey hammered right over our tree or right over the blind. I mean, just hammered. I mean, it gave me goosebumps, man. I mean, this is 30 minutes before a turkey should even be awake. They shouldn't have been doing anything. And he hammered, and I just like looked at Brock. I was like, "Did you hear that?" He said, "Well, yeah, of course I heard that." It's like, you
Yeah,
big
you big
dummy. I
dummy.
mean, obviously I heard that, but but man, it was just a really special experience, to see Cole take his very first 2 turkeys, and he was the only kid out of the 40 to limit out. He tagged out in 2 mornings.
That's awesome. And
Yeah,
man, that kid Cole will never ever forget that.
No, and he was a special guest on Rooted Television.
And then there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So man, I just really think that it's so important. And also, I know we both have story of kids, but even if it's not a kid, so like with the Turkey Federation, I've had the privilege of taking out wounded veterans who have never hunted, and also Wheelman Sportsman, which is Wheeling Sportsman, which is a group of people who are wheelchair bound for whatever reason, and we take them out on deer and turkey hunts every year. And man, you want to talk about perspective in a blind? These people can't walk. Some of them can hardly pull a trigger, and they get in the woods, and their whole mind shift just changes, and they can do anything they want, and they're just having fun, man. I really think that sometimes it's a big reset whenever you take someone new and you watch them learn all the brand new things in their life, and you're like, and to you it's just like, yeah, whatever, that happens every time I'm out here. But it's like, maybe I should not take that so much for granted. So not only does it help the hunting community and you're introducing people and it helps that person, but I think it's good for you as the experienced hunter to maybe get, some perspective.
And I have to agree with that a lot, because it also will humble you, and bring you back to where your roots are. I mean, both of us, man, we were blessed with good parents. We both had great opportunities to do things. May have come later for you, but man, we still were both completely blessed with health. And that is
Absolutely.
bigger than anything that we could ever imagine. As far as, I mean, nothing else matters, man. I mean, because we're not promised tomorrow. That's why it's so important to know God as your Lord and Savior, man. It's this life is fleeting. And when I walk, and that's what I gathered when I walked in the room, with those kids. And I look around the room, and every one of them is joyful, and I'm just distraught, because I'm saying, well, I've got, this, that, or another going wrong right now. Woe is me, bull crap. And here these young kids are smiling, dancing around, having a wonderful time, and they have everything in the world on their shoulders. And it's
the outdoors has lifted that a little bit, man.
Yeah.
And the good Lord,
Yeah, man. And it's just like, I'll tell you, dude, a kid, watch it and you'll see this. You'll mark my words, you will see this. When you have a child, that is the closest glimpse to heaven I believe we have on this earth. because they are 100% pure and 100% innocent. They know no evil yet. So,
Good point.
It is a very special thing, man. That's why I think we have to take care of our kids because, first of all, God tells us to take care of the kids. That's what we're here to do. We got to take care of the kids, and we have to pass down, what we have been given as a heritage. Some people think it's just trophy hunting. Maybe for some people it is. I don't know. I don't really care. But for us, for you and me, it is a way of life. It is a way of sustenance. This is what we eat. This is how we function. And dude, I'm saving up and I'm going to have a deer skinned jacket with the hair still on it. Or maybe do it out of a coyote hides or whatever. But I am going to do that, man, because, having the ability to do all this kind of stuff, it never hurts to have that skill so you can pass it on. Never hurts, man.
Exactly.
Because if we don't pass on the knowledge that we have, then guess what? This thing that we love, this lifestyle, goes away forever. It's gone. So that's why I think it's important to take the kids, is because not only does it keep them out of trouble, because they're just going to be broke like we were, still are.
Goodness, yeah, dude.
Broke as a dang convict over there trying to scrap up enough dollars to buy 5 260 rounds, just to kill a couple deer.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sitting there thinking, well, man, I got to have a whole box in my backpack in case I miss. It's like, no, just aim small, miss small, man, but dude, there's just something fulfilling about getting kids. And I don't know, man, it makes me think of my dad and all the sacrifice he did. Man, he even sold a gun to buy me stuff to go hunting. I mean, if that don't tell you his dedication, dude, I don't know what is. I don't know, man. I don't know what is, and I think it's beautiful.
And, if someone's listening to this and maybe they're, not as fortunate as us that had parents that took us, I promise you, there's someone in your community that hunts that is willing to take you. I promise you, because hunting numbers are dwindling, and if they care anything about it, they will definitely take you. I've got a good friend of mine who recently passed away. He was the president of the Turkey Federation chapter here, and he would put on Jake's Day events and all that. And man, anytime someone wanted to go, because my mom and dad don't hunt, won't take me, or whatever the situation was, he would always take him. And I've always looked up to that, and try to do that just because it's so important. And there's people out there that say maybe we shouldn't bring new hunters in just because there's not enough public land, or there's not enough critters, or all that. And to me personally, I just think that man, I'm really glad someone introduced me to this world, and I want to do the same for someone else, if not multiple people. So
yeah,
that's what I'm gonna do.
Dude, I'm right there with you. I am right there with you. And to be quite frank with you, I don't really care what anybody thinks. If they think that we don't need to bring youngins into this, they're dead wrong. They are dead wrong, and this may ruffle some feathers, and I don't really care. But if you think that this is something just for you and for nobody else, you're wrong. Because you were introduced to it by somebody. You didn't wake up one day as a child and just go buy a gun and go hunting. It just didn't happen.
Nope,
it just didn't happen, man. Somebody took you, and if you're that hard up on killing a big buck and won't let a kid do it, You need to check your priorities.
Nah, get out of here.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
mean,
I'm
you
saying.
got to check your priorities, man.
Exactly. You know, I had the best turkey season of my life this past season,
Yes, you did.
and I shot one turkey
Mm-hmm.
personally.
Yeah.
But what I did was I got my brother on his first long beard, and that dude, I mean, he's coming up this week. He'll be here in like 2 days to go deer hunting. Every time he gets a chance to go, he's going. He's all the way in it. And the other thing I did was introduce a new hunter into the world of turkey hunting. My soon to be father-in-law, uh, poor little Richie. He actually tagged out, man. So I
Uh,
mean that this dude, I I I got to tell this. So uh, I'm obviously beyond nervous to meet this human for the first time, right? Because
yeah.
I'm halfway talking, dating his daughter, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and this Richie is a yeah, retired Marine, and buttoned up, and so I'm hearing all this, and I'm like, dude, I'm just a redneck, man. I don't know nothing about. So, but funny enough, we get to talking, and everything's going well, and eventually he's wanting to learn more about this hunting thing, and I'm trying to explain to him how, like, buddy, I don't care to take you at all. We may not see a turkey, hear a turkey. We may not do anything. I'll be dadgum. First hunt. This bird's hammering, and here come this group of hens from the left. And let me back up here for a second. I'm trying to set him up in this blind, and I'm like, listen, dude, it's either going to come from the right or straight on. Maybe the left. They hardly ever come from the left. Sure enough, they come from the freaking left. And but this bird's hammering, these hens come out, and I got this Tacticam on my shotgun that I'm letting them borrow, and I go to reach up to hit this Tacticam ever so slowly, and this one hen sees me, man. It just poof flies off. I'm like, oh my god, I just ruined this Richie's first hunt. Oh my goodness. So I
Oh,
just sit
man.
there, and I'm like, I ain't moving, dude. And the other turkeys are like, why did that hen just fly off? And it's like, maybe I should leave too. And they kind of walk around, and then they get out of there, and then like 30 seconds, another one kind of scatters away. The only one that didn't, thankfully, was the longbeard. He just scurried on behind us. And Richie is just like, what the heck just happened there? He has no idea what's going on, really. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, just stay still, hold on. And I get out my call, and I call just a little bit. That bird hammers, 30 yards behind us, comes back in the field. Richie shoots it. And dude, that guy is a turkey thug now, man. He is all about it. I got him coming to the turkey show this year. He went online and bought like $400 worth of mossy oak. I mean, that dude, he's put more money into hunting than he's ever thought about ever doing it. So, it's so special, man, because uh, it's so awesome to watch somebody, whether it's a kid or a 50-year-old man, get
Mm-hmm.
into it. And man, he's so pumped, fired up, and he loves it. And what I'm getting at is, from your comment earlier, is I got more satisfaction of watching my father-in-law shoot those birds than I had shooting mine with him. I mean, of course I loved it. It's awesome. I like being successful and filling tags. That's great and dandy, but I had way more fun watching him do it, and watching his passion grow and sharing what I love with someone I love. Man, there's nothing like it.
But if I have to remember correctly, the reason you really took him on the turkey hunt was to prime him up to ask for his daughter's hand. You forgot about that part because you called me and you said, dude, how could he say no
I forgot.
if he killed a turkey? I was like, well, that's a great point. I think you should go with it. You know, it's like
I totally forgot about that part.
Yeah, it was pretty funny, man, because you called me right before. It's like, well, I'm taking Richie in the morning to go and turkey hunt, and I'm gonna ask for Mag's hand. And I was like, good job, bro. That's a good thought. I took my father-in-law fishing, and I think that's probably the most nervous I've ever been in my entire life, was asking my father-in-law for my wife's hand. At least he did it after he killed a turkey. We didn't even catch a fish. Didn't catch anything. I thought I was going to catch a cold or something, you know.
Man.
I mean, at least you got to kill a turkey. It was cool. But that's the real reason, folks, why he took him turkey hunting.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I that's funny. That definitely did slip my mind when I was telling that story. But yeah, because I remember when I messed up and that Flynn hoop, the hen flew off. I remember just being like, "Oh my gosh, I can't ask him now. He's gonna be mad at me for ruining his turkey hunt." Oh man! But obviously, spoiler alert, it worked. So
yeah, and now y'all are
well.
tying the knot this weekend.
Yeah, buddy.
In fact,
it's gonna be headed a phenomenal time
to you in
2 days.
2 days. Yep, 2 days, bro.
Yep.
And we will be in the same area.
It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, because we're gonna go bust some pheasant in the face. I can't wait.
Oh yeah. And this is exactly what we're gonna do. Is everybody who's gonna be there at that hunt got introduced to hunting at some point, and now it's all just a big time brotherhood. Camp's always a good time, and it's just fun, man. It's just fun, and I really think that it's special to introduce those people to fun.
Well, man, the thing of it is too is you never know how you've impacted somebody for the rest of their life. Man. You never know what they could be going through that they have now either forgotten about for a few hours or whatever, because you took the time to take them out to the woods. That right there in itself, and dude, just showing them God's creation, man. I mean, that's what we're here to do, right? Is share the gospel in any way we can. Exactly. And sometimes I find that just immersing people in his creation is better than words.
Yeah, man. You want to talk about peace? I mean, I was in the woods today, and knowing that you're just in the middle of nowhere, and there ain't nothing around, and you're like, all right, well, I'm way smaller than I thought I was.
Yeah.
Like, this is it.
And the crazy thing is,
if you think you're big and bad, you just step in the middle of thousands of acres, and you're like, all righty then, well, this is it, huh?
Not as big as I thought it was. Man, what's wild is every time I go into the woods, I've learned something different. Different birds make different screeches and sounds at different things. And man, there's just a like you said, a peace. In fact, I'm going to challenge everybody that's may be listening to this. Next time you go into the woods, go deep into the woods. I mean, as far out as you can go, where there's nothing, no human anything, and just close your eyes and listen.
And turn the cell phone off.
Yeah, preferably with no cell service. All you hear is simply God's creation. That is it. That's all you hear, man. You hear birds chirping, leaves rustling, squirrels running around, deer doing their thing. That right there is for me the most pure form of peace there ever could be, is being in his creation.
Yeah, it's it's really special, you know. It's really, really special when you can introduce somebody into that world, and then they can return the favor years later. So
Yeah.
that's all I really got to say, man, is just take a kid hunting. If you have
Yeah.
the opportunity, just do it. And also, it doesn't even have to be a kid. If your 50-something-year-old father-in-law wants to go, take him too.
Yeah, if somebody wants to go hunting, don't ever turn them down. And you never know; it could turn out like me and old Johnny Boy here. We're like brothers now, and it all started with hunting.
Yeah, man.
That's where it all began. Hunting in the barbershop, old Sean Templeton there,
Yeah.
Woods Viking Barbershop. If you're
Yeah.
ever in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and you want the best haircut and beard trim around, go see my boy Sean
That's the place to go.
and tell him that me and Johnny Boy sent you. But other than that, folks, we are signing off on this one. Don't forget, take a kid to the woods, teach him how to hunt. You'll never regret it.
Not a chance in the world you ever will.
Redneck out.
See y'all.